Hello, fellow watchers and enjoyers. Piggy and Ash,
Hello.
we are here for another episode of the classic EastEnders podcast. People, if you're wondering, what is the classic EastEnders podcast? We're reviewing 80s EastEnders. Um, we have just a little side note before I ramble on about our introduction. We're definitely doing the rest of 85. We don't know about the rest of the 80s. We might be jumping to a different year. When we're finished 85, we don't know.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of one of those things where it's like, do we? Because basically, Piggy pitched it to me in the way that essentially goes. Wouldn't it be cool to essentially go through like each decade, and be like, here's EastEnders from '85, and then you go, okay, this was a lot more like kind of suburban type, a lot more family oriented. And then you go to 95, there's a bit more of the Mitchells, a bit more of the gangsters. Then you go to 2005 and it just goes a little fucking wild. Like, just full swing of, like, the mid-2000s. And then even 2015, which, honestly, it'll be worlds apart. But also, we haven't actually decided yet, so if you like that idea.
Also, I don't know because I assume if we go along with this idea, by the time we get to 2015, it will hopefully either coincide with 2025 or will be in early 2026.
Yeah.
But it would be lovely because then we've done 10 years apart for every decade. The one thing I would love to cover on this channel is Den's return, because I think it's a great return. Of course, the ending happened too soon, but we obviously know why the ending happened too soon. But it's one of the things I'd love to cover, because people either look back at it as a horrible experiment, or people look back at it as a great experiment. So I'd love to sit in the middle and just watch his entire run, and then go, was it good, or was it just bad? But we don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we did. I'm pretty sure we did find a take of. I think we found a copy of Den's like entire story. So it's definitely one that we could do at some point. I think it would be. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to figure out how to do these sorts of things, because obviously we want to cover it like normally. We want to cover it like. Because obviously, I want to do more of the 80s. I want to do like some of the 90s. Like I want to do a lot of this stuff. So it's just kind of that. It's kind of hard to figure out what's the best idea. So maybe we'll like put it to like a public vote or something, or we just fully just send it and decide. You know what? We do what we want to fucking do.
Because although like people say the 80s is the 80s are more like it's your family, sit around, get a cup of hot chocolate, sit around, watch the TV, EastEnders is on. No, it feels more like it's for a family. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then 95 is like, oi, what fucking gangsters me? And like it's a bit more for the adults, but there's something there for the kids, but it's not. It's a bit more for the adults. And then 2005 is like just off the wall, mental. And then 2015 is just not shite, but
it's just worlds apart, isn't it? It's just a completely different time. But yeah, who knows? It's a cool idea. I like it. But I also like the idea of just slowly trekking through it year by year, so we'll never know.
But yeah, enough about going through years. We're not a time traveler because we're currently in the 80s. Likewise, this is the classic podcast. You're obviously listening to this on YouTube, hopefully. We're not thrown off again. And I will essentially be hosting this. This podcast will be diving into the early years of EastEnders, so 85, maybe 86, 7, 8, 9, you get it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into today's episode, ranging from the 18th to the 30th of April. And before I do that, I forgot to say, how have you been, Ash?
Yeah, it's been alright, mate. One thing I suppose I'll just say this now, just because I fully remembered. I would like to cover around 289 when the first writers the first producers and writers leave, and obviously we get to see a lot of all of the characters who were built up in this time pretty much just vanish because a lot of people weren't particularly sure about EastEnders in the initial days. Nobody knew it was going to be as big as it got. But in terms of me, it's been alright. It's been another week, been a busy week. Busy again this week. Doing some planning, getting some ideas done. Whole lot of fun. I scripted something earlier, and if you've listened to this podcast in any way, you can kind of understand that I'm more of a ramble on with vague notes rather than actually scripting something. But if it goes well, you should be seeing that on the channel fairly soon. A lovely little video discussing Mark Fowler and the almost just completely tragic tale of both the actor and the character. So, how are you doing, Piggy?
I'm doing good. I want to find out, I'd love to go to 89 because I just love the fucking... We want Dirty Den. You're not getting Den. But we want him. But you're not getting him. I'll tell you what, we'll compromise. We'll shoot him. So that means then you can't get him, but we can have him. And if you want to bring him back in about 12 years, it would have been about 12, 20 years, you can bring him back. But just make sure that you don't do it in the 90s.
Exactly.
I just love that. They were like children. We just want Den. You're not getting Den. Fuck off. He's mine. He's mine. Leave it out of it.
Yeah.
We love that. But yeah, I've been doing good. Obviously, this is a classic podcast. I don't know if this was coming out the week I fly back to Ireland.
Should be. Yeah.
But if it is, my holiday went great.
Lovely.
And you know, chip chip cheerio, as the Brits say. So let's get into this, and let's do a scrap storyline where the IRA bomb the Queen thing. and by bomb it, I mean I will completely bomb this podcast, so I am a shit host. And the three main storylines are Sue being pranked by Michelle and Sharon. Angie starts an affair with Tony Carpenter, isn't it?
Yes.
And Mark Fowler's disappearance. He wasn't abducted by aliens, he just went off on a little walk. So yeah, let's start off with Sue being pranked by Michelle and Sharon. So, why is Sue being pranked by Sharon and Michelle? Well, you might know something. Sue is a little bit of a bullshitter. You know? I think my nanny had a phrase where you can tell this woman's a bullshitter because fly sticks to her shite. It was something like that. So yeah, she basically is making these accusations. Obviously she didn't know 30 years into the future that we would actually find out who killed what's his name again? Reg Cox. I nearly said Dean Wicks. Completely different character. She obviously couldn't see who actually killed Reg Cox, but she's making this accusation that Mark Fowler killed him, and he basically did a runner. So,
and this is all while Michelle and Sharon are casually just having a munch in the cafe. Yeah,
and if people want a comparison and you're still a bit confused, basically she thinks he does what Grey did in modern EastEnders, where Grey basically killed a bunch of people and then just ran off. He did get caught by the police, but I'm just making that comparison for people who were a bit like, I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, she basically is just saying, look, I'm not saying that he did it, but why would he run off, steal cigarettes, and just disappear without without a trace. And obviously, Michelle and Sharon are like, okay, how can we get back at her? They basically do it like a 5-year-old, and they basically just prank call her. They're like, hello, I'm from India. Your Tesco club card is out. Please help me
The
remove.
best bit about this is they are genuinely just like, hello, Ali, Irene. I look forward to tonight. It's just fucking. It's just they're putting off on these dodgy Spanish accents or whatever. I know it sounded French, but you know, and then just because obviously they're a bit upset. Why? Well, as we'll get into later, fucking Mark's gone missing, and like I'm pretty sure it's like the day they kind of figure out, and like Mark's gone, and Michelle's worried, and like. Sue just like, I think it was that Mark Fowler. They're just like, sorry. And like it kind of goes throughout the whole week where they're just continually winding Sue up. And one thing we've learnt about Sue is a jealous fucker. Alright?
Yeah.
She is not very confident in her marriage. Obviously sees Ali as a bit of like a womanizer. Like honestly, they are kind of chalk and cheese really. One's a very laid back, like calm, like well, I say calm. He's a bit of a hothead, but still, like he doesn't really care that much. Versus Sue, who's very like highly strung and really fucking insecure, but like shoots her mouth off a lot. So just throughout the whole week. She just gets these calls and she gets increasingly more like fucking freaked out. Because it's like, oh, Ali, tonight is the night, huh? It's just, oh, it's lovely stuff. It's nice little EastEnders revenge.
I'd love if they, because I don't know, it probably was a thing in the 80s. I would have loved if they did the fake Indian accent, like, hello, your bank card has been frozen. Send me your 12 digits and I will unlock it. I would have loved that. And I don't know how they would have done it, but I would have just loved it. To get the fake scammer calling it.
I mean, it's just a lot more fun to just... I say it's a lot more fun. It is mean, but... I mean, you know... You chat a lot of shit. You know, sometimes you get banged. Just how it works.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever prank called anyone?
No, I'm a good boy.
I've prank called the police.
Why? Why would you prank call the police?
I was 5, okay?
Oh, fair enough then. All right. Oh, that's like... It was yesterday. I traced the number. I'm in jail. Currently recording this with my one prison phone call. Okay.
Hello,
Hello,
I'm under the water. Help me.
What? I don't know why you prank call the police, like.
We didn't have any other phone number, so we just went, fuck it, the police.
At least at that point, you're not like... They're not going to show up like, who the fuck are you? And they see like like 2 kids just like, hee, the police. They've got me. Hello, Mr. Policeman.
It'll be Garda man to you.
Hello, Mr. Garda.
I don't know why you're doing it. Why I'm looking Norman from Fireman Jam.
Is your police running, Mr. Man? It's Garda to you, bud. Hello, Mr. Garda man. I don't know if I'm fucking know.
Why are you doing Norman from Fireman Jam?
I don't know. Sometimes you roll the dice.
People, if you want to watch Fireman Jam, you can probably find a bunch of the original series on YouTube. The stop motion on YouTube. If you're looking for the older series, they're on Paramount. But I recommend the original series. But yeah, I'm Norman from Fireman Jam. But yeah, so they prank call her, and well, Sharon, you're not the cleverest tool in the shed, because Lofty, which this will coincide with our second storyline. But Lofty, he's a bit of a tool himself.
Yeah.
Like, like he'd tie his shoes backwards if he could.
Very true.
So like you go for a Philip head screwdriver and you get a flathead. I'd probably said the same thing twice. But yeah, he basically Sharon. You don't even close the door, but basically Sharon is seen prank calling the cafe, and I'm just like, Sharon, I understand this is the 80s. You don't have a phone you can put in your pocket and bring it to the bedroom, but you could have clearly closed the door.
But yeah, like it's kind of wild to think that they just keep getting on her wick, and like she just slowly like starts to break down. It's a bit of a look into the. It's a bit of a look into Sue's kind of mental state. Because I'll be honest, and I'm not spoiling anything, but I'll describe Sue as a tragic character. Some things happen to Sue, and it absolutely devastates her. So, yeah, it's pretty fucking rough. Pretty fucking rough. Like, it took a couple of days just getting hounded for her to be like, God.
And then basically Sue thinks it's Debbie is her name.
Yes.
Debbie and Ryan, I want to say. His name's not Ryan.
Fuck, I don't remember his name. Debbie and Andy. There we are.
Andy. I thought his name was Ryan for some reason. Basically, Debbie and Andy come into the cafe and they're like, yo, what's up, my homie? Let's talk about the housing crisis. Let's have a civil discussion. You sit down there, boil the kettle, and we'll talk like we are Parliament. Oh, fuck. My throat. We'll talk like we're Parliament, and we'll get through this. Sue basically snaps because she thinks Debbie is the one who keeps calling her. And I'm not saying that like her voice doesn't match the hello, I am Cindy from France. Like, I'm not saying you could tell straight away that they're clearly two different people. But they're two different
some
people.
people can do accents.
Yeah, but do you think Debbie, the posh lady, can do an accent?
Yeah, that is true. She does like the sound of her voice a bit too much.
And this leads to Sue breaking down, blaming Debbie and Andy for all of this mischievous phone calls. She thinks Debbie is the one who's cheating on. I was gonna say cheating on Andy with Ali. Is it Ali's name?
Yes.
Yes, Ali. And basically, Ali comes in and is like, "Look, love, you're a stupid woman." He basically belittles her with no one around. And even though I love the scene, I do feel bad for Sue, because she's just being tortured, and like she's just been told by her husband that she's a stupid woman.
Yeah, it's not really the
like it's like the equivalent would be you having a mental breakdown. You snap at your best friend, and you accuse him of stabbing me, and then I walk in, and I call you a stupid man.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's really not Sue's fault, but well, she doesn't really get the. I mean, she did start screaming at Debbie for no reason. But alternatively, she has been hounded for the past fucking week. So, yeah.
Yeah, she's been hounded for the past week. And I'm not saying, like, I feel sorry for her. But, like, she is having a mental breakdown, lads. She is, quite literally, having a breakdown.
Yeah.
And all you can do, Debbie, is just look like a posh wanker while Ali walks in and just belittles her. Like, I'm so sorry for you, Sue. Hope you can come back to the show somehow.
I don't think she'll ever come back.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I wouldn't ever come back if I was Sue. Too many bad memories.
I'd bring back her child, though. Like, the child would be fine to bring back.
Yeah. But... no. I don't think any of them would come back. They all got a very definitive exit.
Yeah. But yeah, this leads to Sue basically losing it. But some good luck happens for her. I am mixing scenes up, and I am sorry about that, folks. But she did get some good news before she got some bad news. She, and by she, Ali had got some money from the Golden Circle, I want to say.
Nah, Ali's just been gambling and won.
Yeah, but I thought he was hiding it and saying, no, it's the Golden Circle.
Yeah, but he then admits it later on, so.
But yeah, he gets the money from the quote-unquote Golden Circle, and they're happy because they can buy a new oven and, you know, make more food. And by making more food, you'll bring in more money. And by more money, you can then do up the shop. But
yeah.
a downside to this is Ali spends all the money on gambling. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, he simply decides, it'll be a great idea. I'll bet it all on a horse and I'll make double. And it's like, that ain't it, Chief.
That horse was tried the fuck on me, brother.
Like, the issue with gambling is once you get to a certain point, you don't really have a reasonable thought process. Just go, yeah, I won. And then, like, what if you lost? Like, you lost like $2,000. It's like, oh, well, I'll get it back. And then just never do. Just never do.
Would you go to... Now, I'm not talking about the modern day cafe where Kathy's running it. But would you go to the 80s cafe, you know?
Yeah, dirt cheap. Like.
Where... Yeah, I know it'd be dirt cheap. It's still dirt cheap in EastEnders land.
True.
But I would love... Because it's just the fact that the child... It's just the fact the fucking child is in like a little... I don't know what they're called. He's in them seats. And like, she's cooking the beans like. And the child's just sat there playing with his little toy. Like, I don't know. Like fake car keys like.
Yeah.
He's just sat in the back like, just minding his own business. It would be so funny to go in there. Because you just see people smoking and eating and drinking. Oh, it'd be so weird but so fun. I don't know if you have, but I don't think I've ever been in. Because obviously we were born right before the smoke ban came in place, where you couldn't smoke. The 2000s basically was when you could smoke in a pub, and then 2006 or 7 it came in like you can't. Have you ever been in a place that did allow smoking and didn't?
Not as far as I remember.
So like what I mean by that is, were you in a cafe like, and then like your granny was just puffing away like?
I don't think so.
I don't think I was either, but I would have loved the experience too, because it seems so weird now when you look back at it.
Yeah,
this was just the norm.
It's very bizarre, especially when people are just eating food, just having a smoke. It's like, what? What do you mean, lads?
Oh, my sandwich did taste nice, but now it smells like smoke. Oh,
It was only ham when I made it. Now it's smoked ham.
And oh, it would be fun to be at it for once, like for once in a lifetime to see it. But you would immediately get over it the second or third time you walk in.
Oh yeah.
Because I think this, because the thing with smoking is it affects everything in the room. So like you could be smoking, and then you could be drinking tea. That tea is just gonna taste horrible.
Well, just the amount of secondhand smoke is unreal.
Yeah. But enough of that. Yeah. So they go to get a new cooker, and they don't, because it's all gone.
Well, they pay for they put the deposit down, but wait, no, they don't.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't put the deposit down, and then the day after they're like, "Oh, where's this money then?" And Ali's like, "Well, I lost it, didn't I?"
Yeah, he lost it. So that's all that happened to Susie. He was bullied by two teenage girls.
Yes.
Who were pretending to be French, Irish, and Scottish, I believe.
I mean, I'd say Spanish, but
they might have been Spanish. I think they were Spanish as well. I know one of them was doing an Irish accent, which I would have loved to hear. Because would have just been your stereotypical Irish accent, or would it just been, oh, she's from Tipperary? Because I know straight away they do the stereotypical accent where they're like, hello, I'm from Ireland. Diddly dee.
Just hit him with a fucking top of the morning to you. It's fucking amazing.
Top of the morning to you. I can't say the word. Top of the morning to you, scumbag. How's it going?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's all that happened to Sue. So we will move on to Angie starts an affair. So Dan is going on a lovely summer holiday. We're all going on a summer holiday. But the start of this, I don't know why, I just loved seeing Dan in his tidy whities. They're getting ready for a jumbo sale, which is basically a car boot sale for people who want to know.
Yeah.
Basically, you bring all your old bits and bobs, you bring it down to the local church or the local school, and you basically sell it for like 10 or 20p, or a pound. Because I don't know if the Americans have, I know the Americans have thrift stores, but I don't know if they do jumbo sales in America. Because it just sounds like a British thing, doesn't it?
It sounds like a very British thing, yeah.
Like, because I can't imagine fucking then the Americans just going, alright love, grab all of that stuff, we're bringing it down to the market. Although I do think they have flea markets, which would be the equivalent of a jumbo sale, yeah. I think. I'm not too sure. But yeah, there's a jumbo...
like a market stall type thing, yeah.
The market... A side story, the toy market, I can't go to it anymore because my mother lives in a toy, and well, that'd be awkward. But I used to go to the toy market, and this man at a stall would just sell all these wrestlers. Like, they'll all be loose. They wouldn't smell bad or anything. They'd just all be loose in a box, and it'd be like £5 per wrestler. It was great. I miss that. Have you ever went to a jumbo sale or a market?
I went to a couple of car boot sales back in the day, but nothing too interesting.
Oh, I love it. You have to admit, car boot sales are brilliant. You go in there and they're like, we've got Frozen on DVD. How? It's just in cinema. Don't worry about it. don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are some local car boot sales, but yeah, I just haven't been to one in absolute years.
I'd love to go back to a car boot sale, because they are so nice. Like, you do find someone's trash and you make it your own treasure.
Exactly.
Like, I just love being a toy one though, and I'd go over to this man and he'd have all these DVDs out, so you'd have like Ice Age would be in a, like you'd have the cover of Ice Age, and Eyesight should be in it. You have the cover of the Simpsons movie, that'd be in it. And then he has like the Anchorman.
It's
And
like
like it would just be a DVD and it just have the Anchorman written on it.
yeah. It's like when
What were you gonna
I
say?
when I watched. It's like when I bought GTA San Andreas. I also it came with another game called True Crime New York, which was a San Andreas clone. And then seen it, my dad's like, "Oh, don't tell him." And then like played it, and it's like, yeah, they were happy to get rid of this fucking thing. They were so pleased, like, thank fuck.
Was it good or was it bad? True Crime of New York?
It was just wank.
Can we get a stream of it?
No.
Damn it. Maybe when you hit 1,000 followers.
Carry on.
Maybe. Carry on, my way, son. Yeah. So basically, they're having a jumbo sale. You know, you bring your cakes and everything, and Angie has thrown out this ugly ass suit, in my opinion.
It looks like a proper like 80s like long like flared legged dream fucking suit.
It looked like my old primary school uniform. Like it was green, and it had green bottoms. It looked mid. Like if I was then, I'd be like, yeah, get rid of that. I do not want that. That is no, please. But yeah, he basically then he's basically packing for his holiday, and he basically goes to Angie, "Oh, you're throwing on my suit, aren't you?" And then he just takes off his pants, his shoes, his socks, his pants, and then his shirt, and he's just going around in his bare jocks, like walking around the pub. Could you imagine walking past the pub and then you fucking see Dan just bollock naked, just with his jocks on? That would be a weird sight.
Would be funny.
So yeah, it would be funny though. Could you imagine he was serving the customers like that?
Oh.
So all the customers are like properly dressed, and then Dan's just going around. He puts one leg on the table, you know, his other leg spread out. He's like, "What can I get you, ladies?" But yeah, Dan basically is packing for his holiday to Spain. Why is he going to Spain? Well, he's going to meet his mistress.
Mistress Jan.
Mistress Jan. And basically, everyone knows but Sharon. That's just a key point for later on.
Yeah.
That doesn't come into effect till late down the road. But, yeah, he packed his holiday. He goes off. He enjoys himself in Spain. I hope when he returns, he just has a massive tan.
No, it's dirty Dan. He's spending all the time shagging, isn't he?
He's seeing Patrick Bateman in the mirror, like he's just buffing himself up like, "I'm the fucking goat. I'm the goat.
I'm the fucking man.
Who's the man?
Who's dirty? It's me."
And then Jan is just like, "No, it's me. Fuck off, lady. It's me."
Shut the fuck up, Jan.
Starts slapping her like, "Fuck, who's the man, baby? Who's the man? You are. Yeah, say it again. Who's the man? You are."
Well, whatever gets in the.
I just would love if he just came back looking like Donald Trump. He's just completely orange. I would have. And then like Sharon's like, "How's your holiday?" "Oh, my back is sunburnt, Sharon. You don't. He can't walk. He's just completely done." But yeah, he's gone to Spain, and this leaves. I'm trying to think of his name. This leaves Arthur and Lofty to run the bar with Angie.
Yep. Arthur's not a very good barber.
I would agree with that. Having worked as a barman myself, it is a hard job. I worked the tills, And I specifically told this man, I cannot work the tills. I can do anything out the back. I can bring your bottles down. I can do anything else, but I cannot pour pints and I cannot do the tills. And man just went, you're on the tills. So I had like 5 lads shouting in my ear, oh, I want a pint of course, I wanted this, I want that. And I just sat there like, oh, I want a fucking dime, please. I don't feel bad for Arthur. Because it is a hard job, because you have to remember what every single person wants.
Oh yeah, it's a hard job. I've got a terrible memory, so I'd be garbage at it. Plus, also, I don't really have the chat to be a good barman.
You don't need to chat to be a good barman. You can just be like, how's your wife, how's your kids? That's it.
Yeah, but I don't even do that.
They're like, so Ash, can I get a pint of Bulmers off you? You're alright, yeah.
Yeah.
How's your day been, Ash? Fine.
Alright.
It's alright.
It's like fucking... Mate, honestly, it's obviously, it's fairly known at this point. Obviously, I worked in retail for a good, like, 6 months. Like, I was technically there for, like, 9 months, but 3 of that I was off just mental. It's worst time of my life. And... So, you know, for, like, the first, like... I got hired in October, and by December, I was done being social, because I was trying, right? I was trying. It was Christmas time. Was fucking miserable, working like fucking 30 hours a week. I was on a 12-hour contract, of course. And I was like, lads, can you put my hours down? Yeah, we'll try. Never did. Until I was off for sick leave, and then suddenly I'm working 8 hours. Lovely. Cheers, lads. And essentially, I was asking everybody like, oh, are you excited for Christmas? Yeah. You know, and all excited, you know, most people are like, yeah, just, you know, got a nice holiday plan with the kids. Ah, isn't that sweet? But one person was not the person to ask about Christmas. Because here's me at the start of like a good 8, like maybe even a 12-hour shift. Oh, you excited for Christmas? No. Oh, why is that? Well, my son shot himself last Christmas. Sorry. Excuse me. I'm fucking sat there, like, bright-faced. I have a smile on my face. Just fucking listening to them being like, yeah, well, I don't actually like Christmas anymore because he fucking killed himself. Sound. Cheers for fucking... I've got a 12-hour shift that I've got to fucking work through now. I'm going to think about your dead son. Absolutely livid, mate. It's fucking... I'd stop being social at that point. I was not. I was just a good cashier. Fuck off. I'm not having conversations anymore.
That would ruin me. Because, like, I understand, like, where they're coming from because they want to tell people. But, like, he's just a cashier. You don't tell him.
Like, I'm working on the fucking tills. I got, like, a good old fucking 12-hour shift ahead. Yeah, my son killed himself. I'm like, oh. Why?
Like, obviously, how I would do that is, like, if I had someone who killed themselves during Christmas, I would just go, yeah, I'm having a good time. Yeah, Christmas is a bad month for me. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, my granddad beat me at Christmas, that's why I don't like Christmas.
Yeah, just cheers.
You know.
Why the fuck's it my problem? Maybe he killed himself because of your fucking shit chat. You fucking piece of shit. Ruined my Christmas.
Did it?
No. It ruined my shift though.
Could you imagine on Christmas Day you're sat there having your turkey with your ma and whoever else, your brothers, and then they're like, Josh, why are you not eating your turkey? Reminds me of this customer I had whose son shot themselves. Well, Christmas is ruined. Fuck's sake. We're gonna watch Die Hard and now we can't. You've ruined it. Do love Christmas though. Christmas is a weird time when you're an adult.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Not that we really need to spend much more talking about Christmas in fucking October. It's not even October yet. It's August.
It's September by the time. No, it's August when this comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're near spooky season in real life, and I'm excited. Hopefully get to watch some horror films for that. that's enough about holidays. We're back to Angie. Arthur's obviously working the bar.
Bit useless.
He's useless. Well, at first he's useless. He seems to get a hand of it.
He does. I just
But-
love him though. He's such a useless fucker, but he doesn't mean like anything bad by it. He's just shit.
Well, I don't know was there a law in the 80s, but could you not have Sharon work the bar and he'd just go around cleaning all the asphalt?
She was too young.
Ah, I see.
Like, license would have got taken away if they saw a minor serving alcohol.
Fair enough. Even in the 80s they were against that.
But yeah, I mean, it's still, you know. It's reasonable, like, it's...
Why would I just have her on the bar? Like, I don't want to go on the bar, nothing. You're going on the bar. I don't care. You're going behind the bar. You're fucking working there. I don't care if you're 15. Pour them points, love. So yeah, Arthur fills in for... I don't know who he fills in for.
Den.
So wait, Lofty fills in for Den and Arthur fills in for Den.
Well, I just imagine Den is a lot more like hours behind the bar, so kind of like make up the gap between the two of them.
It took 2 men to replace 1 man.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, he's shagging out in Magaluf.
And to be fair, Angie started to replace Den anyways.
That's true. But yeah. So Angie, you know, she starts flirting with Tony. Tony's the big, bulky man whose last name's
Caribbean.
From the Caribbeans, and he's a lovely man. I would love to sit down and have a little chat with him.
Oh yeah, he's a very worldly man.
Like, there is just something about, like, you know, it's just something about sitting there, you know, and he starts telling you stories about the war, and you're like, oh, tell me more. I know he's probably would have been born post World War II, but if he was like my nanny, he probably grew up in World War II, and then just, you know, graduated. But I would have loved to hear stories of him talking about the 50s.
I mean, I think there's just a lot of fun in hearing stories from just proper, like, kind of like blue collar work, just working the whole life, you know, spend the night just having a drink in the pub, having a laugh, you know.
Yeah,
they got some proper stories, like. I suppose also she starts looking at Tony the second she phones up, like, Den's place, and she's like, I'm Mrs. Watts, and then the phone's like, oh, I'll go put her on, and she's like, what? So she obviously, like, she knows that Den's off to see Jan, but she doesn't want to believe it, because, you know, the only person Den really loves, or Angie really loves, is Den. And the only person Den really loves is Sharon, so.
And himself.
True.
It's still one of my favourite scenes, though, is when he comes out of the shadow, like Batman, and just like, hello, princess. I just love it so much. But yeah, Leslie Graham is off for about 2 weeks to probably to rest up his vocals. Don't know why he's resting up his vocals. Don't know what he would have been doing at this time in 85. So he's off for a couple of days. He will probably return next week. He probably did return next week. So yeah, we will see him again. So Angie starts talking up Tony. She's like, yeah, Tony, you want to go back to my place? You know, maybe play a bit of chess, a bit of sax, you know, maybe an old scotch, you know, dim the lights, light the candles. You know what I mean? Get a bit of funky and the chunky.
Bit of the rumpy-pumpy.
The rumpy-pumpy, the roly-poly.
The red beans and ravioli.
And Tony's like, oh, yeah, I understand. And also this leads to... I didn't know this was introduced in the 80s. I thought this was like a thing from like the early 1920s. I didn't know this was still... Because it's still technically very new, because it's 40 years on. But they got a cook for the Queen Vic.
Yeah.
Well.
Who's set to fucking... Who's set to cook? Is it gonna be Ian? You know, is it gonna be someone else who can cook? Who else is it gonna be? It's Ethel. And I wouldn't trust Ethel to do anything, I'll be honest.
Ethel obviously buys I think she buys big steak, doesn't she?
Yeah, she gets Arthur to buy in some steak.
Basically she cuts onions, leaves them unattended, Rolly and Willie chew the steak up, and they just have a lovely conversation then, the two docs do. And Ethel puts, what does she put in it? Sausages?
Honestly, I don't know. I genuinely thought she put like fucking dog food in there.
I did too, thought she put dog food in there.
But she seemed to just put the shit bits of the butchers. So... yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Regardless, it's shite. It's hot garbage.
But yeah, this leads to the following day, or probably 2 days afterwards, where Ethel has cooked some pies for the Queen Vic. They all taste it and they all go, yeah, it's delicious, you know, best thing I've ever tasted in my life. You know, better than what I cook at home. I will tell you that much. And Ethel's so full of it. So full of herself. Yeah. She thinks she's created the next best thing in the world.
She even heads over to the cafe. Oh, do you want a new cook? You know, I can help, you know, once takes off. Do you even pay me? Labour love?
And they don't want her. So she heads over to Lou Beale's house and basically brings pies over. And Michelle and Lou Beale both have a pie each of... We both have a pie of Ethel's, and Lou takes a lovely lump out of it and just goes, Ethel, that is shit.
Oh, bloody hell. Ethel, what bloody hell's in these things? That's bloody awful. Just fucking... you know, it's just... I love their friendship so much. Just, Ethel, what the fuck is this? Are you kidding me? What are you doing? Trying to kill me? Just... oh, I love Lou Beale so much. He's my favourite.
So yeah, Lou Beale tasted the pie. It wasn't nice. And then then Sharon and Angie have the pie. They don't like it. So yeah, the pie
has the pie. He says it's interesting.
Ali has the pie. He says it's all right. And I forget the other person who has the pie.
Oh,
no. So would you try Ethel's pie?
I would. I would lie.
Free food, isn't it?
It's free food, and I like Ethel, so I would never want to get on the bad side of her.
Just eating the food, like, so you're eating the food and then you make that disgusting face, but you turn it to like a happy face, like, delicious, what, oh, no, oh, lovely, Ethel, lovely. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about Ethel's pie because, you know, we got to see her cook. She apparently has the recipe stored up in her mind, so I'd assume she mixed up parts of the recipe because it's not written down.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? So yeah, back to Angie. So her and Tony, you know, she starts having an affair with Tony, and Tony just says, "Yeah, fine. we'll take it step by step, and we won't let anyone know. So I'd assume this is the affair Angie has. I'm not too sure. But yeah, she has an affair with Tony, and then is out for another week of the show.
Yeah, not much else
So
to add to that.
Nope. So let's go on to the final topic, which is Mark Fowler's disappearance. So, Mark Fowler, a tragic character, and even worse tragic story for the actor. But
Yeah.
we're not here to talk about the actor. But horrible story what happened to him, and I hope his family, wherever they are now, are doing good. But enough about him. Mark Fowler, he was on the show for about 2 months, and then they were like, we want you to be racist to Calvin. And then he went, yeah, you see, I would do that, but you know, ITV really have this show going on, and I just, you know, like I would, but you know, I really would, but no, I'm not doing that. Sorry. And then they just rewrote everything for him, and he just rode off into the sunset.
Yeah.
With his black leather jacket. I don't know if that's a thing that's more associated with the second Mark Fowler character, but I like to imagine he just rode off on his bike. So yeah, why has he disappeared? We don't know. But Lou Beale also disappeared. Fun fact: Lou Beale and Michelle went on holiday to Clacton. Clacton?
Yes.
I'd assume Clacton.
Yeah.
They went on holiday to Clacton, and they had a lovely time. I would have loved to be in that caravan. I would have loved to be in that caravan. I don't know about you.
Oh, honestly, I just likewise. I'd buy Lou Beale. I'd buy as many drinks as she'd want, because she would yell at you, but she would give you like some fucking sage advice.
Oh, could you imagine like her telling stories like from her childhood? Like, oh, I'd love it. It'd be so nice. It's basic for people who want a modern comparison. It's basically what File Highway was supposed to be, but you know, it was shit. But Lou Beale was the original, and no one could replace her.
Exactly.
Not saying that File Highway couldn't replace her, but you know, when you have shoes that big to fill and you have small feet, it's very hard to fill.
Exactly.
But yeah, she's off in Clacton, and her and Michelle are just having a lovely time. Oh, I would have loved, you know, I know they didn't shoot anything out in Clacton, but I'd have loved if Michelle had got her a sticky rock and was like, here you go, Lou. And then it was like, I can't fucking chew it.
I can't chew this.
She's just going, I can't fucking chew it. Just smashing against the coffee table, like, fucking hate these things. Get me my dentures, Michelle. Get me my fucking dentures. But yeah, they're having a lovely time in Clacton, and then basically the main story is Mark Fowler. I've just done a wonder. We don't know where he went. No one knows where he went. He does return, but you're not going to see him for at least another 9 months. So yeah, he's just gone off. They all look for him. They can't find him. Which, I mean, if you can't look for him and you can't find him, it's might as well just report him missing. Which they do. And they interrogate Ian Beale and Michelle Watts. No, not Michelle Watts. Michelle
Fowler.
Don't know why I thought she was a Watts. They interrogate both of them, and Ian knows who he was hanging around with, and Ian does let it slip. And yeah, then Lou Beale gets back from holidays, and she brings everyone presents back. She didn't bring us back a present. Why didn't she bring us back a present, Ash?
Yeah, I'm still quite upset about that one.
Yeah. Hashtag cancel Lou Beale. Hashtag not my Lou Beale. Forgot about us. We even read a song, it's called Don't You Forget About Me.
Hey. Yeah.
There's not much to add about Mark Fowler. He's just disappeared.
He's disappeared, and it takes Pauline and Arthur a little bit to actually kind of figure out. Oh, it's actually kind of a big deal. This is, and they eventually they tell the family, and the family all kind of gathers around and gets a little obviously gets quite worried because and they also Ian, like I said, reveals how kind of bad it was getting, what he was up to, and also, I mean, the reason why Mark left is pretty much so he's recently been linked with Nick Cotton, who's now being pursued for Reg Cox's murder. He was gonna join a racist organization. He doesn't really get along with Arthur and Pauline at all anymore. So why not just leave? And that's kind of why it went that way. And obviously they all kind of band together as a family. We didn't get to see too much of them actually kind of trying to figure out where the fuck he is, but obviously everybody's a bit stressed and not really handling it the best. So there we are. That's what happens. Obviously, like I said at the start of this, the actor David Scarborough essentially he's kind of struggled with the immediate spotlight that EastEnders gave to him. Because obviously he's like a young, a 17-year-old from a fairly small village. So he's obviously just kind of whoa, this is quite difficult. This is quite hard. Jesus Christ. So it's just kind of and also just the press were absolutely terrible to the actor and made up a bunch of false stories. But that's not really the point. Get into that in another situation, or another occasion rather. But yeah, Mark Fowler's gone. We won't see him for another 8 months or so on the show. And he'll never return as a regular cast member until he gets recast with Todd Carty. So yeah. The last recurring regular appearance of Mark Fowler. It's a big old shame. Because I suppose we can get into this now by just kind of talking about the actor as a whole. The actor just did a really good job as Mark Fowler. He did play as an interesting. He just played an interesting character. He wasn't good. He wasn't good. He did some dodgy things, but he wasn't irredeemable. He wasn't just a villain. So yeah. It's just it's a shame to see him go. And yeah, like I said, I'll cover it in another video that I've kind of written about the topic. It does definitely fuck with the show a lot more. Like I said, we'll see Calvin, we'll see Ian, and we'll see Michelle all get slightly larger roles. There'll also be a character introduced to kind of offset. Because basically, with Mark Fowler, he was the oldest teenager. So he was kind of bridging those more adult-oriented storylines, right? Dealing with drugs and right-wing gangs and or a neo-Nazi gang rather. So he was that older teenager who was getting into all the dodgy stuff. But they didn't really have the older teenager to replace it because, in the show, Michelle's 15, 16, Sharon's 15, 16, Ian's younger. You don't really have that, young adult presence to really take over those storylines. So yeah, we'll see in a couple months of the show to see who is going to replace Mark Fowler. As I believe it's noted that around 50 scripts had to be rewritten simply because David Scarborough essentially went, yeah, I really do not want to do this racist thing. Like, I don't want Mark Fowler to become a racist. Because in real life, he was just so removed from any of that nonsense. He just went, I'm not fucking doing this. And it was quite interesting to see. Because in a documentary made by the actor's brother, because unfortunately the actor like killed himself at the age of 20. So his brother made a documentary trying to because the press were very on at the actor and like tried to make him sound like he was Mark Fowler. And essentially his brother's documentary, they talked to the actor who played Kelvin, and he was just so pleased that like the actor essentially went, lads, I'm not doing this. You can fire me if you don't want me to do this. Like, in the 80s, in the mid 80s, to kind of stand up for a person of color, to just be like, I'm not fucking doing this. I'm not being racist. I'm not gonna hurl abuse at him. It was a pretty like big thing to do. So it was a really interesting to see the actor be like really touched by what David Scarborough did. So that's a nice little tidbit information. It's an absolute like shame, but at least we've still got a decent amount of scenes with him in. It's just we'll never see him in like a proper like continued cast member, and it's just absolutely miserable.
Yeah, it's sad what happens to him, but that's all we can say on Mark Fowler. He's gone. People see him, but he won't be a regular anymore.
Is this our first exit on the Classic podcast?
Technically, yes. I don't know who our original first exit was.
I don't know.
It would
I guess Nick also left. Regcock left, but Nick comes back and Regcox is dead. So we never knew Regcox. Yeah, there we are.
Exactly.
What next, Biggie?
The awards, I think.
All right.
So, this is our final thoughts and the awards. Let's start off with the awards. Who is most underrated this week?
I'm gonna just use it as an excuse to... I chose Lofty last week. Bollocks. I'm just gonna use it as an excuse to appreciate Arthur, because I absolutely love Arthur. He's quite useless, but he's just like he's useless in a way that doesn't make him seem like he's just like annoying. It's just he's just down on his luck, Which is why it's nice to see him get some more work and just not have him just float around annoying people.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't want to work. It's just he just never manages to get like a long-term position. Who's your most underrated?
I have to have a think about it. So give me a second. I would give it to Michelle, simply because she annoyed Sue, but I'm gonna give it to Sue.
Okay.
Because she had to put up with some bullshit.
I mean, she also did a good job. It was actually showing a bit more range of her acting as well. So yeah, that's cool. And the only other award we have on this podcast is...
Who needs slapping down?
A classic. A Watching Walford classic. I would give it to Michelle and Sharon, but I can't.
You can.
Well, but I don't want to. I like Michelle too much, and I gave it to Sharon last week for a fucking fake laugh. So I can't do it again. Do you have any person you immediately have right now who needs slapping down?
Ethel for the pies.
Actually, Willie needs slapping down, but in a very nice dog pet way, not like a don't smack the dog. Because Willie he ruined I'm sure Ethel's pies would have been lovely had it be actual steak.
Oh, there's nothing more lovely than a steak and kidney pie.
I don't know. It has to have it has to have some like sauce to it. It has to have some gravy there.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's just like a fucking meat pie and you're like, oh god, bloody hell, fucking drink about 3 cups of tea to fucking. Oh. But yeah, pies. I don't know about you, but at least in my household, pies are super underrated.
The Bentons, I think that's the
ones in the like tin.
Yeah, I used to get them ones. I love them ones.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think it's an international thing. Like, so I don't think Americans. Again, I always compare it to Americans because Americans are technically considered the rulers of the world, to say the less. Because basically whatever happens in America somehow ends up happening in the UK and around the world. Because let's be honest, we're kind of like, well, politicians are like, oh, what's America doing? What's an American doing? Oh, they're taking away rights. John, I've got a fucking great idea, John. I've got a fucking... We're taking away rights. Because we always copy the United States. That's why I always compare us to the United States. So yeah, I don't think it's an American thing, like to have a steak and kidney pie. I think their pie is more like blueberry, raspberry, chocolate. Oh, I don't know if a chocolate pie would taste nice, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just a European thing in general to have a steak and kidney pie, but it does sound like something like that you get at a football match, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Get a pie, get a pint, lovely. Get some curry sauce for that.
Could you imagine me going up next year? Oh yeah, can I get a pint and an alcoholic? Heathen. Kick him.
Yeah, heathen.
You don't belong around these parts, boy. Calls me boy to improve his dominance. You think you're so fancy when you're not an alcoholic? You're not a real man. Get that fucking point down you now.
But yeah.
So that's who you had Willie. I had
I do have Willie, mate.
We all have Willie. And I have Ethel.
It's fine.
So yeah, our final thoughts and review. Was it a good week? Was it a bad week? Was it a...
I think it was a fun week. I think it was... Obviously, because this is the 1 week out of the show so far, or the 2 weeks of the show so far, that Den's not pretty much been involved in everything. So it was nice to see a lot of other people get a bit more shine. Like Angie was a bit more of a lead this week, and got to see a different side to Tony. It was a fun week. We also got to see, we didn't mention it in the podcast, but we did also get to see Mary and Lofty just getting along and actually just helping each other out, which was really nice to see. It doesn't feel like there's anything particularly, other than Mark being gone. It felt like it was actually quite a positive week, all things considered. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
How'd you find it, mate?
It was a fun week. It's fun seeing the show without Den, because people because Den is considered the main character of the 80s.
Yeah.
Until until eventually they throw a fit and like you're not getting Den. But he is, for people who go, Den is not a key part of the X. He is
Definitely
a key
is.
part. He definitely is. So it's weird seeing the show without Den for 2 weeks.
I suppose I will just say it's a thing of like pretty much whoever owns the pub are like the main like lead kind of, because it's such it's such a pivotal part of the show that it's like, you know, I felt that's just important to say. Like obviously Linda is currently a huge character,
and George Knight.
Yeah, and that's why like.
And of course, by the time this comes out, she's back on the square. Good old Cindy fucking Beale. Watch this.
It would be interesting to watch either some of like Cindy's like. It would be interesting to watch like Cindy's first entrance.
In 1988.
Something like that. Yes, something like that. It would be cool to watch it back like ahead of the episode. Just matching some content ideas, mate. Just bashed them out.
Fair enough. We might do that.
Not today.
Definitely today.
No. But yeah, that's it.
I've been joined by Ash.
Bye-bye.
And I've been joined by Piggy.
Hello, Piggy.
Fuck off. So yeah, follow us on all social media platforms. We are on the Instagram. We're not on Threads. We're on Twitter/X. We are on Twitch at Watching Walford. And we are on YouTube at we're Talking Walford on YouTube. So subscribe to us.